Hey everyone, Morgan here. So today I'm going to be talking about if I were to start prepping right now, what would I do? Or rather, what are some of the steps I would do? I really want to preface this by first saying, take your time, step by step. Everybody comes to me and says, oh, it's too late to prep. I'm so behind. I'm so overwhelmed. It may feel like that, especially as crazy as the world is and has been for the last, I don't know, ever. The world has always been insane, but the internet and social media has really amplified it. So I need you to first take a step back, take a breath. You got this. You take it step by step. You will get to wherever you're going. Remember, prepping is a lifestyle. There's no end goal. It's not, I'm going to reach this goal and be done. It's a lifestyle. So treat it as such. And by saying that, the very first step I want you to do is look at your everyday life. So, what do you eat on a regular basis? Take note if you want to. For your breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, what do you normally eat? What type of hygiene products do you use on a regular basis? Start stocking up on those. And later down the line, you can learn to make them. But right now, just focus on stocking up on a few extra of those. So what do you cook with? And what I mean by this is not like the pots and pans that you cook with, but like the fuel sources and the heat sources that you use. Do you have an electric stove? If so, then how could you cook if the electricity went out? Do you have an alternative cooking method? And we'll talk about that later on. I also have lots of videos that also talk about that. What type of games do you enjoy? So I say this because morale is super important. Having board games and books and journals and whatever you need to keep you entertained, crafts items, all these things. What do you enjoy doing as a morale booster, as downtime, that kind of thing? What drinks do you like? Coffee? Anyone? I got my coffee right here, actually. So what drinks do you like? You're going to have to, one, stock up on those drinks, tea, coffee, lemonades, whatever you want, the instant drink mixes. And then we're also going to be considering the water needs for that as well. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Is your gas tank full? So whenever you're going out and about, running around, I want you to really pay attention to your gas tank. If you had to get home or you had to leave, could wherever your gas tank is right now, right at a quarter or almost empty, could it get you to a safer spot? You know what I mean? So really, I recommend having your gas tank full at all times. Not at all times, like if it just gets under, it's like, I gotta fill it, but try to keep it above half. What are the common routes that you take every day? Try to mix it up. Get to know your town. Get to know your neighborhood. Mix things up. It is amazing how many roads lead to so many various places or the same place. You know what I mean? Mixing up your route can be a good safety measure, but it can also help you get to know your area in case you ever do need to evacuate. You want your life to look as normal as possible during whatever emergency or disaster. Even if you have to evacuate your home, I want you to be able to have your food, your water, your morale items. I want you to be calm and in control of these situations because you're prepared. Just take this assessment, look throughout your life, and see what kind of things you could maybe amp up and get prepared a little bit more. And in saying that, stockpiling food and water is a really good place to start. Of course, we need food and water to survive, right? If you go grocery shopping, you can prepare, right? So every time you're at the store, just get a little bit of extra food and water. You can get a couple gallons of water or the bottles of water, whatever you want. This is the easiest way to start stocking up on water. Put it in your closets, under your bed, wherever it'll fit. And then stockpile that food too. Any non-perishable foods that you use on a regular basis or you think you might use. If you bake a lot, you're going to need all those baking items. And the more you cook from scratch, the more you're going to realize what type of foods you're going to want to store. So keep a solid inventory from the start. I cannot stress this enough. I had terrible inventorying in the beginning, and I feel like now I've kind of got a handle on it, 12 years later. But I think that inventorying is so important. I use the Prepper Nerd system now, and I kind of wish that was around at the time that I was using it. But the Prepper Nerd system just gives you such a great overlook and gives you so much more data that you can use than just simply writing stuff on an inventory sheet. You can definitely write it down on a piece of paper, put it in Excel, print it out, whatever you got to do, whatever works best for you. I am going to put a link down below for the Prepper Nerd system just so you can have an idea of it and see if it might work for you. They do have offline systems rather. So make a list of skills that you already have in your existence that you already know, and then skills that you want to learn. I have an entire blog post down below of all the skills that might be useful to you. You do not have to learn all of them. You can learn some of them or none of them. You think you're good, great. But write down lists. I think lists are pretty helpful. You know, they get things physically in front of you. Okay, I already have these skills, and any skills, right? Not just fire making and, hunting and, running off into the woods and living for, by yourself for 2 weeks. No, I'm talking about everyday skills. Can you sew? Can you, make soap? Can you do basic things, in your life? Can you cook from scratch? These are basic skills of life, and they all are part of preparedness. And then make another list. Once you have that list of the skills that you know and skills that you want to learn, next list you want to make is the list of gear that you have, and then a gear that you want. So you have the gear, right? Everybody has gear in their house, whether it's just some candles and lighters, great. You got to start. That is a start, right? And then you can build upon that. Do you have some cast iron or whatever, whatever you already have existing in your home, write it down. Seriously, everything. Blankets, you have sleeping bags, you have a tent. This is all part of preparedness, okay? And then the gear that you want. So you make a little wish list, right? I also have a huge list down below at my website in the description. You can go click on it, a huge list of potential gear that you may want to look at and see if it's right for you and your prepping and your lifestyle and whatever. Figuring out your budget and making realistic goals and expectations is going to be the next one. It is so exciting when you're just getting started, right? Like, oh, all these skills I can learn, all this gear. But again, we got to take a step back, take a breath, and realize that this stuff will take time. Maybe focus on one skill a month, or if you want to be ambitious, one skill a week. I have a skill Saturday that I do every Saturday. And I'm showing like one skill a week that people can do very easily, right? Everybody can do these skills. So if you want to follow along with that, great. Or if you want to, pick your own skills that you want to work on, great. And so set realistic goals and expectations. That's time management goals and expectations. This is money goals and expectations. So the next one is going to be look to local resources. I think this is extremely important. I think looking to your local resources for farms, for local community gardens, for your neighbors or whoever that you feel that you can trust, your friends, family, whoever, no matter what your situations are, there are local resources like their wild edibles. Can you hunt? Can you fish? Where can you do these things? I think the best place to do this is just to go online and just start searching farms, near my city, community gardens near my city, classes near my city, all these local resources that you can now utilize, right? So the next one's going to be make an emergency disaster plan. This is a huge step that I think is extremely underlooked. Nobody seems to do this. But, making that emergency disaster plan is extremely important. And I have a whole blog post down below in the description that you can, go step by step on how to make that emergency disaster plan. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be super simple because we all know in situations, it's all circumstantial. Things will change. But having that baseline, having that foundation for that emergency disaster plan will help you adapt in those circumstances, right? Well, I had plan A, B, C, and D. Well, none of these are working, but you know what? I know what could work because you've already worked out those plans, and it's much easier for you to adapt on the fly. So check out that blog post down below. Asking what if questions is a great way to find solutions. So asking yourself like, do I have supplies for lights out? What would happen? What would I do? How would I cook? How would I light? How would I heat? How would I cool in a lights out situation? These are all what if questions you can ask yourself daily, and then you can work out a solution. It doesn't you don't have to solve the solution, but you can work it out and then slowly, work out on solving it, down the line, step by step, right? So how can I clean or bathe without electricity? How's my home and my personal defense? Am I paying attention right now to the situation or my phone? What am I doing, right? So we can be more mindful and be more aware by asking ourselves these questions too. Control what you can control. Keep telling yourself this. What the government does is usually completely wildly out of my control, but I can control what happens in my home. I can control what happens, even when I'm out and about. I can control me, myself, my reactions or actions. I can control my emotions. I can control how I perceive. I can control how well prepared I am. I can control these things. It can be really easy to get overwhelmed, but I want you to just start. I want you to just try that skill. I want you to just try out that piece of gear. These things take probably way less time and effort than we're making it out to be in our minds, right? Give it a try. And maybe if it is taking more effort, take a break. Come back to it later. That's okay too. Practice these things step by step. Homestead exactly where you're at. Homesteading is a state of mind. Prepping is a lifestyle. Yes, maybe you want to leave the city one day, and that's great. Have that goal, have that plan, but I want you to prep exactly where you are right now. You can do so many things right where you are. You can cook from scratch. You can make that soap. You can prep those alternative energy sources. You can prep the alternative heating and cooling methods. You can prep, your alternative lighting sources. You can prep food and water. You can do all these things exactly where you are, and you can look to community to fill gaps where you can't prep. I have tons of videos and blog posts. Take a look at all this stuff. I also have a few books that I've linked down below to help you on your journey. And I hope that you will reach out if you ever have any questions. I am always here for you. And if you want some more in-depth knowledge, you can join my YouTube membership right here for 99 cents a month. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for prepping. I am here to encourage you and cheer you on because you're amazing. And I just want to say, cheers to your preparedness and your new lifestyle. Conquer tomorrow by preparing today. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.